Alright guys, today's video will be the guides for the new story mode Ex9 and also Ex10 stages. Now both stages are somewhat annoying because the boss have like a quirky mechanics. You can read that yourself once you actually go into the battle, but basically this one have a bit of a special condition for damage within a certain range, but for vast majority of the time you don't really care because if you actually time off your buff and debuff perfectly, your ultimate attack should exceed that range and therefore not affected by that annoying gimmick. And then the other thing Ex9 stage also has is that he's actually able to set up a counter, which can be annoying if you just want to actually nuke on that turn, or for example actually land a debuff on that turn. So what you're actually going to do instead is you're going to have one of your other character just to do a normal attack in order to use up that counter so that your actual debuffer or your nuker can actually then land their attack. So that's pretty much the only annoying thing for Ex9. And then for Ex10, basically the boss have this gimmick with I think called miracle stacks, which basically allow him to dodge an attack, or if he is at 0 HP, those miracle stacks can allow him to survive for one extra attack as well. So basically for Ex10, all you need to do is that you just need to hit him a few extra times even after he's already dead. Oh, and also on top of that, he also has this rotating gimmick of damage reduction. So sometimes it's curse technique damage reduction, sometimes physical technique damage reduction, but you just need to time your attack at the right turns, and that's about it. Now, for both of the stages, I'm only going to show you a strategy using Domain Gojo, and the reason for this is that for all of the story mode, you can just initially borrow a character from a friend. So even if you don't have Domain Gojo yourself, you can just borrow one from your friend. Now, granted, in order to do that, you won't actually fulfill the 3-star condition with the first one, where 0 character withdrawn. However, vast majority of the time, what people really care about the reward is actually the cubes, which is for finishing within 50 turns. So what you can simply do is just borrow from a friend for the time being to get those cubes, and then come back and re-3-star in the future once you have your own Domain Gojo, okay? So that's kind of why I'm only going to show you a strat with Domain Gojo, but all of the other characters are going to be in the standard banner for both of the stages. Okay, now let's start off with Ex9. So for Ex9, like I said, you basically need to make sure your nuke, you time your nuke perfectly with all of the buff and debuff, etc. So that's kind of why I decided to bring two of the most strongest debuffer out there, which is Domain Gojo and also Domain Megumi. Now, obviously, you actually want to time so that can do domain expansion together. So that's kind of why I also have this Unity regression, just to make sure that I can actually match their domain expansion at the same time. Now, the same with this stage is, first of all, the enemy can counterattack, and that can be very annoying when you actually try to land a debuff on your domain Megumi. So what you're going to do instead is you're going to use your Yaga at the first position, so that whenever you see the enemy actually put up a counter status, rather than buffing with your Yaga, you're actually going to use your skill 1 first to get rid of that counter, to make the enemy use up that counter, so that the debuff on your Megumi can actually land. So that's kind of the only thing to be aware of. The other thing is also the enemy can actually hit very, very hard against non-red characters and can potentially kill off your Megumi very, very fast. So that's kind of why I put on this regression, which everyone should have from one of the story events. And basically that just allow you to actually dodge a few attacks, and that would increase the survivability of Megumi. And that's pretty much all you should know for Ex9. And then moving on to Ex10. Well, the strategy is going to be very similar. Basically, you time your domain expansion together. Now, the thing is, because the enemy is actually going to rotate between physical and also melee damage attacks, damage reductions, you just need to keep an eye out on what is the right turn for your Nobara to nuke. And the right turn for Nobara to nuke is actually going to be turn 5, which is actually going to be before your domain expansion can actually be released. But that's absolutely going to be fine, because the more important thing about this stage is actually you want to kill off the enemy fast, because eventually you have to do a few extra attacks to wipe out his remaining HP, even when he's at 0 HP, if he still has the miracle stat. So it's absolutely okay for your ultimate attack to land outside of domain expansion, and then once you're actually within the domain expansion, you're going to do a few more attacks, and this basically reduces the chance of one of your strongest nuke actually just happen to be dodged by the enemy's miracle stat, so you kind of actually spread out your damage a bit more evenly. So that's kind of what I'm doing for this stage. And then for your Yaga, basically the only thing you want to know is that because you don't have the likes of Kaito to make sure your whole team have that continuous curse energy. So you just need to manage your curse energy a bit more carefully with this regression. And also you don't actually want to start using your debuff straight away. I think I only started debuffing on turn 3 or turn 4. And that basically allowed me to make sure that my debuff cover a good portion of both of my Nobora's nuke, and also for the remainder of the battle won't have the domain expansion on as well.
死ぬまで着々の戦い方を教えよう。相手の動きを観察しろ。手加減はしてあげるよ。やるか。どうする？術式順転。行くぞ。死にないぞ。ここで仕留める。相手の動きを観察しろ。手加減はやるか。さて。術式順転。死に乗るなよ。行くぞ。手のひぜ。最善。手加減はしてあげる。やるか。さて。では教育の時間だ。乗るなよ。興奮してきたぜ。手加減行くぞ。どうする？では教育の時間だ。ここで楽しいぜ。相手のやっちゃっていいの？やるか。どうする？授業を始めよう。術式順乗るなよ。やる気がないなら最善のそれじゃおしまいにいつでも行けぞ。任せろ。領域無料空示。領域展開願望を上げて。めぐみ。わかりました。調子に乗るなよ。さて、やっちゃっていいの？いいぞ。任せろ。授業を始めよう。調子に乗るなよ。さて、手加減はしてやるか。任せろ。授業を始めよう。まだまだ。それこそ調子に乗るなよ。調子に乗るなよ。さて、準備はいいか？手加減はしてあげるよ。いいぞ。任せろ。では、教育の時間だ。いくぞ。すべて問題なし。殺す。はいよ、これ。大佐。楽しいな。めんどくせえ。やっちゃっていいの？いくぞ。相手の動きを観察し。相手してやる。術式順転。取り組む。ねえねえ、どんなにやっちゃっていい？いくぞ。最善の相手してやる。術式順転。いくぞ。指導だ。やっちゃっていい？いくぞ。相手してやる。術式順転。やっちゃっていいの？やるか。相手の動きを観察。相手してやる。かかってこいや。術式順転。モキュブラパン。俺が楽しければいいじゃん。やっちゃっていいの？やるか。相手の動きを観察し。準備万端。こっからよ。術式順転。ここでモキュブラパン。ねえねえ、どんにそれじゃおいつでもいけるぞ。相手の準備万端。こっからよ。無料空示。領域展開願望を上げて。めぐみ。わかりました。モキュブラパン。やっちゃっていい？いいぞ。さて準備万端。こっからよ。まだまだ。教育が必要そうだな。出番だキャシー。通営所看護師。行くぞ。逃がすか。手加減はした。やるか。最善の相手してやる。まだまだ。ガキモキュブラパン。そこまで。やっちゃっていいの？いいぞ。相手の動きを相手してやる。術式順転。やれ。どこまで。やっちゃっていいの？いくぞ。行くわよ。まだまだ。まだ最強だからね。